92. Once again, we say hello. Welcome to Sports Center. I'm Scott Van Pelt. If you clicked over from watching the Bucks get back into this series with a victory at home, thanks in large part to the tremendous performance from Giannis Antetokounmpo once again. Hi, welcome. Bucks get the victory on their home floor. Tim Legler will be here in just a moment to help break things down. Different stylings on the way into the building, and tens of thousands of people outside cheering their Bucks on. Air balls sometimes work out. Off the miss from Brook Lopez, P.J. Tucker to Giannis. Bucks lead. The story really of this one, big runs late second and late third. What a pass from Jrue Holiday to Tucker. Then Giannis, Euro stepping, part of a 20-6 run to close the second. The Deer District are going nuts. Then just 2 minutes left. The block. Holiday starts it. The give back to Bobby Portis. Beautiful passing. Holiday, Middleton, Holiday. Pretty as a picture. Bucks lead at the breaks 15 points. Early third, Bucks up 11. Giannis, Euro stepping to a wide open space. Then it's kind of a mad scramble. The other night, Tim Legler, who's sitting right across me, we talked about those 50-50 balls. There were 4 Suns in that picture, 1 Buck. The Buck got it. Hold on now. I don't think anybody was ready for this one. Cam Johnson absolutely attacks the rim. P.J. Tucker, he thought it was a block, or charge, I should say. The block was called and the hammer was dropped, and then that's what we're used to seeing Johnson do. He buries it 3. It's a 4-point game, but the Bucks have an answer. Jrue Holiday, another 3, leads back to 14. Then Giannis. No. Giannis. Yes, and the foul. Had a good night from the free throw line as well, without 20,000 people fast counting him. Giannis with 34 and 12 through 3 quarters. Then right before the end of the quarter, Pat Connaughton. All 3 of these, and it's a big run late third. And the Bucks now lead by more than 20. Giannis one more time gets around Jay Crowder. Back-to-back 40-point, 10-plus rebound games. He goes for 41 and 13 in this one. They get the 20-point victory. Giannis, just the 4th player with 100 points in his first 3 NBA Finals games. Joining, this is an interesting one. Kind of an eclectic mix. You got Rick Barry. Obviously, they did some great things there by the Bay. Allen Iverson. Willis Reed. Speaking of legendary stuff in the finals. And now Giannis Antetokounmpo, 103 points in his first 3 NBA Finals games. Bucks are on the board. Tim Legler joins us, and you see the scene over our shoulder there. Been waiting a long while for a finals appearance there in Milwaukee, and they're enjoying defending home floor tonight. We talk so much about adjustments and what has to happen. What happened in this one that allowed the Bucks to play and not just win, but win in pretty dominant fashion?
A lot of things went right. And if you think about it, coming out of game 2, one of the things we were focused on, Jrue Holiday and Chris Middleton offensively, where were they? Chris Middleton got off in the first half. It was critical that he do that. Giannis, had another great game, put up big numbers, had a good first half. But to see his co-star alongside of him rolling and in rhythm gave the Bucks a tremendous boost. Bobby Portis was great off the bench. I always talk about where's this supplemental, unexpected offense going to come from. You don't know on a given night, but somebody usually gives it to you in a playoff win. Right. Bobby Portis was huge in the first half. Then you go now to the second half. DeAndre Ayton picks up his 4th foul early in the third quarter. Suns go small. That depleted front line with no Saric, it really tonight came to the fore because they have nowhere else to go. They went zone. They're playing 5 guards basically most of that quarter. And for a while they hung in there because the Bucks were adjusting to guarding 5 guards. And the Suns were scoring. Eventually, though, it was just a consistent offensive rebounding barrage and then 3-point shooting. Suns trying to protect the lane, packed in a little bit. Jrue Holiday gets going. So all of those things happened for the Bucks tonight. Middleton played well. Holiday played well. The lineup change dramatically affected this game in the second half with that small lineup by the Suns. There's just no way you can keep up with a team that's got Giannis Antetokounmpo on it with 5 guards.
Look, you make 23s in a game as the Suns did in Game 2, and you had more than a 30-point advantage from 3, you're going to win the game. Well, now you flip the script entirely. I'm just doing the math on this, and my math's a little bit spotty here, but I can figure out that the Bucks had an advantage here. And that's going to pivot from game to game. But you're not going to have a replacement for Saric and Ayton if he's in foul trouble. There's zero answer for Giannis. So if you're the Bucks, what are you taking from this game that you think, you know what, however long this series goes, we've got some things we can lean into
Yeah,
here.
I think they're going to go and they're going to look at this tape and they're going to see that with the pace that they played with put so much pressure on Phoenix initially. You could almost see this coming. I mean, I don't know about you, but I certainly felt this was kind of how this game was going to go. Bucks are too good a team to just get rolled by the Phoenix Suns. It's not going to happen. They're too good in that building and they're too physical. That's what they are going to take out of this tape. We can beat this team up if we commit to playing with that kind of force in the paint. They really don't have a lot of answers for us. Now, they had some issues guarding pick and roll in Phoenix. They were much more competitive tonight on every screen, contesting shots, getting back, running in transition, all of that. They were desperate tonight defensively, so that contributed to the Suns' poor three-point shooting night. But on the other end of the floor, they're seeing that they have no answer for our physicality, whether that's Giannis, whether that's Bobby Portis, whether that's P.J. Tucker and the way he plays on the offensive glass in the lane. Chris Middleton was mixing it up. Drew Holiday. That's, to me, what they're looking at the Phoenix Suns and saying they can't match up with us from a physical standpoint as long as we are committed defensively and not letting them put up these 115, 120-point nights. We're going to get ours, and that's what they come out of this with. They're back in the series very confident now.
Yeah, this felt like a February game against whoever, where the Bucks have triple figures in the third, and they're going to get whatever they want. And that's essentially what they did in this game. More coming from you a little bit later.
Got it.
Tim Legler will get some.
NBA history has overcome a 3-0 series deficit. And there he is, the man himself, Giannis Antetokounmpo. In Game 2, he became the first player in Bucks history with 40 points and 10 rebounds in a finals game. The Fiserv Forum, home of the Milwaukee Bucks, site of Game 3 in the NBA Finals. Giannis Antetokounmpo, he's expected to come up. Here's the big question. Is Coach Mike Budenholzer going to show up? Is Drew Holiday going to show up? Is Chris Middleton going to show up? Because nobody has seen them in the first 2 games of this series. If you're listening to NBA folks across the globe talk about what transpired in the first 2 games, Giannis, even though he was injured, showed up in Game 1, wasn't himself. Game 2, 42-12, and had no help. Your guy, Chris Middleton, your secondary option, gets outscored by Pat Connaughton. Drew Holiday, who was playing lights out in games 5 and 6 against the Atlanta Hawks, suddenly can't find his offensive swag in Game 2 either. Something is wrong with the Milwaukee Bucks, and here's the reality of the situation. If they're going to win this series, if they're going to have any chance of winning this series, they're going to have to do it in Game 3, starting tonight. It's really that simple. It's put up or shut up. It's game time. It's that important, and they better know it. Now for more on the Milwaukee Bucks, and then some, Malika Andrews.
Stephen A., Giannis Antetokounmpo is tired of talking about his knee. He says he continues to feel good, and he knows he needs to be aggressive if the Bucks want to get on the board here in this series. But he also said he knows there's a lot of pressure that comes with the Bucks hosting their first finals game in nearly 50 years and them coming in down 2-0. But at the same time, he said he's trying to keep it light while also continuing to use his drive. He says sometimes he needs to keep that drive in check a little bit because if he's not careful, he told me it can throw him off of a cliff. But the Bucks are going to need that drive if they want to get on the board here and win Game 3. And for more on their opponents, the Phoenix Suns, here's Dave McMenamin.
Thanks, Malika. While Chris Paul had success earlier on in his career playing alongside veteran teammates in Los Angeles and Houston, the last couple seasons, the 36-year-old Paul is paired with a bunch of 20-somethings in Oklahoma City and Phoenix. Paul said that playing in both those cities without having his family relocate alongside him has given him ample time to bond with his younger teammates. Paul said he was grateful that teammates like the 24-year-old Devin Booker would want to come over to hang, kick it, watch a game, and eat a meal. And Paul said he's even gotten some of the guys to try out vegan food with him. They ain't always loved that, but we did get a lot of time together, Paul said. Stephen A., back to you.
Thanks, Dave. Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday have combined to shoot 47% at home compared to just 39% on the road. They combined for 28 points in Game 2 loss in Phoenix, missing 25 of their 37 shots. Here's Coach Mike Budenholzer on his team's approach for Game 3.
You know, we just got to play. I just want the guys to come and play. We feel like we can play better on both ends of the court. I want them to be free. I want them to compete and play.
We welcome in the champion, that is Kendrick Perkins, and the Hall of Famer, that is the one and only Michael Wilbon, standing right next to me. Mike, let's start with you first. How important are Middleton and Holiday's performances going to be tonight?
On a 1 to 10 scale,
yes.
9+.
Wow.
They have to play. The whole team has to play. I don't believe there's going to be an X factor. I don't believe there's a key. The entire Milwaukee Bucks team has to put up the kind of performance we've not seen in the first 2 games of this series.
What about you, Perk? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, you know what? We already know that they have the talent. We know that Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday has to play well. That's the obvious. But Mike Budenholzer has to make sure that their mental is there. His pregame, last game in Game 2, when he was saying play random, have fun. It's nothing of having fun in the finals. The finals are stressful. It's supposed to stress you out for the simple fact that when I was in those locker rooms with the Celtics, the Oklahoma City Thunder, and the Cleveland Cavaliers, we were stressed out during the finals. You know why? Because we wanted to win. We wasn't just happy to be here. So they have to change their mindset entirely.
Mike Wilbon, I'll go back to you based off of what Perkins just said. How much scrutiny should be on Budenholzer's shoulders tonight, considering how pivotal this game is and some of the critiques that he's received based off of their performances in Games 1 and 2 of this series?
Well, even in normal times, it would be entirely on the coach's shoulders to put his players, no matter what the sport is, in a position to be the best they can. When you talk to players, former players, coaches, former coaches, the consensus overwhelmingly, Stephen A., is that's not happening. And people are loath to sort of be publicly harshly critical of coaches, particularly a coach that has had the #1 seed going into the playoffs a couple of years, has had an MVP a couple of years. But Budenholzer has to deal with this somehow. You also hear about lack of adjustments, lack of consultation with assistant coaches and the sort of senior players who become the extension of the coach on the floor like Chris Paul is. So Budenholzer knows all that. He's heard it all by now. Can he, and is he willing to change any of it?
My only thing to say to you, Mike Wilbon and Kendrick Perkins, is this. I don't want to hear about what we've heard. We saw it. We saw assistant coaches trying to talk to him and him turning his back and not even listening to what they were trying to counsel him on in the first 2 games of this series. So Budenholzer better bring his A game today. I'll tell you that much, because they can't go down 3-0. Nobody comes back from that. Still ahead. What Devin